Yep, and now we're on Worst Heroes and Villains War Ever Round 7, Part 2 of 3. Yep, we're doing a fan commentary on this one, so this one where I kind of explain too much on certain things. So, let's get going and see how this goes. So, we start off with a prologue. We see Raiden and Hemera. You know, Raiden, the Thunder God from Mortal Kombat, the protector of Earthrealm, and, of course, Hemera, the guardian angel of Clementine, who's been protecting her from a pedo fire demon Malmoth. So yeah, those two are visiting a certain ruler of heaven. No, it's not God himself. It's the head angel. So, the head angel, she's, well, technically the angel, and she's the head of the whole angels, of course. So, what I get from Mira Florton is that she's this universe's equivalent to Zeus. What I mean by that, I mean like Zeus and King Morpheus, both protectors of the universe, the greater evils and stuff. That kind of thing. So she's basically the equivalent to the Disney Zeus. Like, you know, protecting the universe, leading the good guys and all that. So she's from this anime Queen's Blade. What I looked up so many things about it, it's I just never thought I'd make that kind of anime Mirror Forte would enjoy. It's really full of fan service is what I got from it. So the plot of Queen's Blade is basically a tournament, mostly for the women, to be the next queens. So, as it says on this wiki, is that the Queen's Blade tournament is a competition of strength and beauty held every 4 years to decide who will be the next queen. Basically a beauty pageant in a Hunger Games style. I mean, come on, how else can you explain this? And it does focus on this character named Lena Danes. Yeah, that's her. On the Queen's Blade, on the Rebellion, and yeah, you get what this, how they wear. So that's Lena Vanes, and so far there has not been any dudes in this show. And let's just say to describe this anime is very sauce. If you guys ever gone through like YouTube poops, you know what I mean by sauce. You know, S-U-S. Sauce. Yeah, I'm not sure I go into that one because it just doesn't look like the anime I would look forward to. It's not what I expect at all. So, what I looked up is that, of course, well, you guys know about the Elder Gods exist. They're the creators of this universe, since they split up the one being. And the only two ones he added in there, which is the Jade Emperor. You know, that Chinese Emperor God from, if you know, like, the Journey to the West, you know who I'm talking about. Or if you're Smite fans, you know what I'm talking about too. And of course, God is also part of the Elder Gods. And, well, he doesn't straight up just call him God in the series, he calls him Elohim. You know, one of the biblical names for God, you know, Elohim, Jehovah, Yahweh, all that stuff. So he's just called Elohim, and that version of God is from Garfield. I'm not joking. What I got from him is that it turns out God did appear in Garfield. Garfield and his 9 lives, I believe. I can't find an episode of it. And I did found that page on him on the blog that he added in there, and you guys might be a little creeped out by that version of God. So he's just called Elohim, and I guess he's like guess he decides to let the head angel be in charge of heaven while he's with the other elder gods, I guess. And also, I did thought of the other one is that Devilmon, and everyone's been so salty over Saint Seiya and Devilman never going to be a non-Disney because like that. So I wasn't too big on that, and it kind of a little iffy on me with God being like the bad guy and all that from Go Naga. And also, because I did watch Devilman Crybaby, and I thought Queen's Blade was a bit saucy. I watched it one time, but I'm not going back to that. And I did watch Sage's review on the 80s Devilman. It's kind of okay. I'd probably go for that than the Crybaby one, despite that I only like the animation. So yeah, ever since I got into Worst Series, I kind of felt like Saint Seiya and Devilman kind of fits in that universe far more than the non-Disney stuff. Even so many times, getting Devilman over his thick head, not trying to be mean, but he is finally understands certain things that are in a certain square area. And he's beginning to understand that. So, even though he's doing Sandbox, so it's kind of questionable if Saint Seiya and Devilman would appear. I even thought of the idea of the version of God from Devilman that'll fix the problems many people might be offended by it, is make him as one of the ex-members of the Elder Gods, kind of like Shinnok was. You know, well, still is an ex-Elder God member, and that he was probably related to Elohim. So basically, the God of the Old Testament versus the God of the New Testament kind of thing. So, it's just something I kind of thought of. So, it's just something to develop of the character relationship between Elohim and Jehovah. Well, Miro Fullerton decided to name that version of God from Devilman as Jehovah. And I was watching Seven Deadly Sins, and I even got myself a little bit of spoilers. Turns out Supreme Being is also the villain. And I asked Miro Fullerton about the Supreme Being, the Supreme Deity being, revealed as a villain who wants to, take over, overthrow the Elder Gods as the only Supreme Being, and he kind of likes the idea. Wasn't sure if he actually planned on that, but he said he likes that idea I got. So, okay, sorry for too much talking. So, the Head Angel, I will say, is interesting. I kind of wish a lot of the girls in that anime from Queen's Blade would dress up kind of appropriate and not all revealing, looking like they're going around in bikinis. So, both Raiden and Himera came to Head Angel, and she's aware about Malmoth bringing about Ragnarok. Oh, she has already known about it, huh? And Himera just decided to tell the backstory about his origins. And he was once a fire, a sacred fire. Really? And that sacred fire is the same one that Prometheus stole. Now that's interesting. Not many people know about Prometheus. He's basically a titan who never waged a war against Zeus at the Pantheon. He kind of predicted that Zeus and the Olympians would win, and he's like, hey, I got it. Hey, yeah, he did guess right. Guess he's not a supporter of Kronos, so he did ally himself along with his brother with Zeus, and he got them all to create life. They made animals, and Prometheus invented humanity. Yeah. And he did talk with Athena, and she gave them, like, the breath of life. Give them, air to breathe. And they're kind of like basically the Greek mythology equivalent of Neanderthals kind of thing. I know it's kind of a weird comparison. So, they mostly live in caves, and they would just eat fruits from the trees. And that's what I mean by they're kind of like the Neanderthals kind of thing. And they were afraid of the dark, and they mostly live in caves, of course, and Prometheus decides to steal the fire. secretly away from what the Pantheon, and goes down to them as okay, just goes around just going, one for you, one for you, one for you, and here you go. Oh, here you go, dude. There, do that. Like, here you go. Just giving everybody so many fires. So, if you guys tell by the footage, it's actually from Zoyas Multifilm. So yeah, that version of with Prometheus, and he also did the Minotaur. They were both from Zoyas Multifilm. I think he did kind of thought of using more of them until with Disney villains versus Zoyas Multifilm villains came around, and it was interesting. And Darth Roller did do the non-Disney versus Zoyas Multifilm one, which I did have to help him with some characters to add in, not forceful, just to help him out with some things. Which even Zavrio has helped him also with that, and along with Fadis and just everyone that helps him out. I only give him like 5 ideas, so I'm gonna wait till he uses each of them until it's going all the way down. So yeah, ever since then, Zoyas Multifilm is considered its own thing. So I guess he's just gonna use the Greek mythology one, like Prometheus and the Minotaur, and that's just it. Sorry, that was a different sidetrack, sorry. Which, of course, Zeus appears as an eagle stepping on the fire. Well, actually, in the Greek mythology, even though Zeus found out Prometheus gave fire to the mortals, and decides to punish Prometheus by chaining him up to a rock and have his liver be eaten by a giant, it was like a giant bird. A hawk. It was probably a hawk. And since he's a titan and he's immortal, he's going to have his liver eaten so many times and non-stop, so it's kind of painful. So Zeus did ask him, hey, I'll let you go if you just do one favor. Get all the fire away from the humans. Like, heck no, dude! It's like, okay, you're allowed to be in there for eternity. So I'm surprised we don't actually get this in that scene. So yeah, we see that eagle stepped on the fire, destroying it, and that fire became sentient, so it has the ability of life. How did it gain life? Or is it just walking around until it found like a little, what's that, a log or a piece of paper or something? And that fire grew and it became Malmoth. Interesting origin. I did ask Mirror Floritan if he actually has an origin. I don't think he gave me an answer about his actual origin. So did he never had an origin? He just made up the whole thing where he was a fire that only survived from that eagle stomping on it, like a little piece of fire that it landed on, like a piece of wood or something, and it became sentient and became to life as Malmoth. That's just be interesting. So he's just as old as humanity is. So that's probably it. I mean, for his age, so how long he's been. And flashback over. So yeah, even though I did talk about the whole Prometheus story, so actually centuries had like years passed. Prometheus was rescued by Heracles, who killed the eagle. Or the hawk, whatever. Actually, that is in the Greek mythology one, so I'll leave a link down below to that. So, I guess Zeus is like, whatever. Just let Heracles to save Prometheus. Heracles, that's basically, you guys might know him as Hercules. Since Hercules is a Roman name, Heracles is the Greek name, so they're basically the same character. Let's see what else down there. Oh yeah, so the head angel is worried that Malmoth will destroy the realm, and for some reason has Nanael, whatever her name's pronounced, to go along with Raiden and Hemira. And she's like, no thank you, I'd rather pass. Tells him not to worry about it. I think I'm going to stop right here, so see you guys in the next part of this commentary.